Hey everyone, welcome back to the Haykin channel. So today we are going to be learning the gradient and intercept form and how to use that to draw our linear graphs. So today's learning intention is to understand how to sketch a graph and identify the linear equation using the gradient and intercept method. There is another method. Hopefully you either have learnt that before this lesson or you will be learning it in the next lesson, which is called the intercept method. So the success criteria today is that you can find the gradient and y-intercept. So the gradient is denoted by the letter M and the y-intercept is denoted by the letter C. And this is the linear equation, which I will talk about. You know the linear equation and all the components included in it. And you are able to sketch a linear graph using the gradient intercept method. So if you have a look at your screen, you will see that this is different y-intercepts, but they have the same gradient. So gradient with the letter M, because the linear equation is given by y equals mx plus c. So this one here is the gradient, and c is the y-intercept. Okay, so you will be able to see that the gradient is the same. So gradient, let me just tell you, is green. So all the numbers in front of x are all the same. Do you see how they're all 2? Okay, see, imagine if I wrote 2x here. They're all the same, 2 and m. Now it obviously changes depending on the question you get, but that's just something to just be wary of. So the y-intercept is given by the letter C. So if you see, this is +2, +1, plus nothing, -1, -2. So they're all different. But you can see that how they look. Okay, so they're going up and going to the right and going down and to the left same amount of times. This picture here says that there are different gradients, but they all touch the same y-intercept. So y-intercept as C, all right, and M, remembering, is the gradient. So we can see that they all touch +1, and that's the y-intercept, which is right here. And the gradient, which is in red. Okay, so we've got 2, we've got 0.5, we've got no gradient, we've got another 0.5, and we've got -2. Okay, so they're all M's, which is the gradient. So I'm just showing you visual representations of what they look like, all right? So we need to remember that the linear equation is y equals mx plus c. So to sketch a linear graph using the gradient intercept form, you need to find the y-intercept and gradient first. So these are the steps to do it. That should be 2 and that should be 3. Okay, so the first step is you need to write the equation in the format y equals mx plus c. So for example, I can see that m is 2 over here and c is 1, which is the y-intercept. Y-intercept and gradient. Now sometimes questions give you like a rearranged mathematical equation which you have to rearrange so that it is in the formula where you see y first, equal sign with x, and then the number without x. All right, you always must make sure that y is by itself. It doesn't have like a 2y equals 2x plus 1. Okay, that would be not a linear equation. You'd have to get rid of the 2, and to get rid of it you'd have to divide it by 2, like we've been doing with algebra. So if you divide this side by 2, you have to divide everything over here by 2. Okay, so it'd be y equals x plus 1 over 2. So that would be the linear equation of that. So after you've rewritten the equation into the linear one, you need to identify the gradient M and the y-intercept C. So first step is I need you to get into the habit of identifying the gradient and y-intercept, and you just need to remember that the symbol in front of it, whether it's imaginary, it's an imaginary positive or a minus/negative sign, that you always remember that whatever symbol is before it, that it belongs to that number. So for example, we could see this is in the format y equals mx plus c. But we can see that the m is 5, so we could say the gradient is equal to 5. And we could say the y-intercept, I know you may be wondering how come the formula is always a plus. We just put that as a default, but if it has like this a -2, we just say the y-intercept is -2. Okay, so here the gradient, okay, the number before x, which is 6, and the y-intercept, well, there's nothing after 6x, so the y-intercept would be 0. And remembering, if it's 0, that means it's touching the origin, and the coordinate of the origin from my 4C video is 0, 0. Remember the coordinate x and the coordinate y. So this was just getting you used to identifying it first. So this one here, you need to practice rearranging the equation so that it's in the format of y equals mx plus c. So you first need to move the x to the other side, but you need to put it before 20 because mx is before the y-intercept. So 2y equals, now that's a positive imaginary positive, so it becomes a negative 10x plus 20. Plus because, well, there's no negative, so it's automatically given a plus. Now to get rid of the 2y, you divide both sides by 2. Divide everything by 2, okay? So now the new equation would be 2 divided by 2 is 1, but we don't write 1y, we just leave it as 1. We leave it as y, sorry. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Negative and a positive is a negative, and their hairstyle x, all right? 20 divided by 2 is 10. And we know positive is positive. And that would be your y equals mx plus c equation. So over here, we want y by itself on the left. So we have to move +3 over there. Remembering the order, you must always have y with the equal sign, then the number with x, or just x if there's no number, and then the number by itself that has no letter. So now it's negative y equals 2x. Bring it across, so the sign changes to the opposite, which is -3. Okay, so that's the first thing you do. Now we're looking for y, not negative y. Remember the linear equation is y equals mx plus c. So now we have to divide both sides by -1, or divide everything by negative so you can change it. So I usually just tell myself, if I want to get rid of that, I have to change all the signs here. So I change it to the opposite. So I want to get rid of that. So y. So I'm doing it to the opposite. Opposite of negative is positive. That means everything here becomes opposite. So opposite of positive is negative. Opposite of negative is positive. Okay, that's one way to think about it. If not, you can divide each of them by -1. That's another way. So this one here and this one here, they're your linear equations rearranged in the format y equals mx plus c. So to sketch a linear graph, okay, we've got this example here. So the first step is to identify the gradient. So this one here is m, this one here is c. Okay, so y-intercept, I keep forgetting that. So y equals 3x minus 2. You need to draw your x and y axis. All right, so my x and y, there we are. Then you need to make sure you do your intervals. Remember, these ones down here are negative and these ones across are negative. And then you plot your y-intercept, which is given to you, -2. There, I've just done a cross for you to see it. Now, to find the next point from the y-intercept, okay, you can substitute the value next door. So this, imagine between 1 and -1 is 0. So this bit here is 0, okay? So you've found the point for 0. You can move to the next one. So to find the gradient method, you need to know that the gradient 3 is written as 3 over 1 because like I said, whole numbers are written as fractions like that. So this is called rise over run. That means, okay, run is going this way and rise is going either up or down. So I am running to the right once. That's one number, okay, from 0 to 1, one number. And I'm going up 3 because it is a positive number. So I go 1, stop, 2, stop, 3. I'm following the y-axis, so there. So my new graph look like that. Y equals 3x minus 2. So the gradient intercept method is where you put the y-intercept and then you just find another coordinate with the gradient. Now, if the gradient was negative 3x, all right, minus 2, let's say that was the equation. So that gradient there would be negative 3 over 1. If it is a negative, okay, you are going down and you are going left. If it is positive, you are going up and you're going right. That's why I went up and right. Even if I did it doing, hang on, let me not use red. Even if I went 3 up this way, so I went 1, stop, 2, stop, 3, stop, and then I went 1 to the right, run, I'd still fall back in the same spot. So it doesn't matter
Mr.
if you do
Portelli, if you're on the grounds, would you please contact the front office urgently, Mr. Portelli?
So it doesn't matter if you run first or rise first, you'll still reach the same point. Okay, so this graph over here hasn't been rearranged. So the first step you need to do is rearrange it. So 2x minus 5y equals 10. So you need to bring your 2x across. So it's negative 5y equals, well, there's a positive here. So if you bring it here, it's negative 2x plus 10. Now you don't want the negative 5. So you must divide both sides by negative 5. Okay. So it becomes negative is positive. 2 divided by 5 is 2 over 5. Okay, positive negative is negative. And 10 divided by 5 is 2. Okay, so let me just rewrite that because that might have been really confusing for you. This one here is negative 2 divided by negative 5, which equals negative 2 over negative 5, which equals 2 over 5. And this one here is positive 10 divided by negative 5, which is negative 5, because positive minus is, negative 2. Okay, so now I've got my equation. I can draw my axis, my x and y. Okay, I can put 1, 2, 3, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's just a good habit to get into. Yours will obviously be neater. So we know that the y-intercept is negative 2 and the m, which is the gradient, is 2 over 5. So we've already got a fraction for our rise and run. So the first thing is to plot the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is negative 2, so you just put that there. Y-intercept touching the y-axis, negative 2. Yes? So the gradient, okay, is 2 over 5. And it's positive because there's no negative. So we know already it's going to go up and going to go right. So this is rise over run. So what you could do is you could rise 2 times. So I'll do it a different color so you can see. So rise, we're rising one number here. So negative 2 to negative 1 is 1. Rising it again because this is 0, remember. That's rising 2 and going to the right 5 times would be 1, 2, 3, See, I have to extend it. Don't do to 3 only. I'm only doing 3 because I don't have a ruler. Okay, so we have to do 5 to the right. So we've gone up twice. So we've gone 1, 2, and then you go 5 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's about there. So my line would look like that. And it would be y equals 2, 5x minus 2. And that would be your graph with a ruler. Okay, so feel free to go back and copy down anything that you need to. Thank you for listening. And remember to ask your teacher any questions on any concepts you don't understand. Thank you.